How's it going, boys? This is RMTS 164. As always, use code RMTS or Verlis at G Fuel. It feels
Verlisify.
like yeah, it's been
We
absolutely.
just don't care. We're just, yeah, all right, cool.
You corrected it. I respect it. No need, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
it is
I'm
what it
just
is.
a grumpy old man that yells at clouds now. Literally yelling at clouds because I just go on Blue Sky. It's like, what's the top post? Oh, it's fake AI. It's everyone saying beautiful. It's just like the Facebook thing. But everyone's blaming boomers, even though it's millennials and zoomers getting farmed because everyone's just filled with hate, like me. It's probably the seed oils fucking up my genetics or something. I'm just mad.
Honestly, I think it's absolutely people becoming more and more retarded. So I found this study the other day, and I don't know if you've seen this or if it's even fucking real, because who the fuck knows what's real anymore.
That's another problem. Like, you see a
That,
study and then it's like, do I
and
trust this? It
this
sounds outrageous.
it was quoted by RFK, so I assume that it's at least somewhat legitimate. That in the 70s, before the 70s and 80s, it was 1 in 30,000 people were autistic.
I've seen numbers
Now
as low as like 1 in 100,000.
it's 1 in 10.
1 in 10 is too low or too high.
No,
I
no,
saw like a
because
one in
it's
100 that's been passed through. Fucking camera. Don't worry, we'll fix it. Just keep talking.
I think it's hilarious because it's like your power's going in and out. I'm really kind of confused. But yeah, no, it was really fucking weird because 1 in 10 doesn't sound crazy if you include ADHD, OCD, and other mental health issues.
Well, now it's just the umbrella's too wide, and that's what I'm upset about when it comes to
But that's
everyone
the
being,
problem with autism.
yeah. Like, everyone's being autistic now, and like, okay, cool. I like numbers, and I'm good with numbers. That's why I've been so good at Pokemon. But I'm going to consider myself not autistic under the spectrum because I'm 90s born, where it's still like 1 in 300 or something. If I'm not punching myself in the head, I'm not autistic. That's how I see it.
Exactly.
Like,
So
if I'm not
self-esteem
just there
is your
shaking when a
determining
number
factor.
goes incorrect, I can I see it like autism as a serious thing, not the dilution of, oh, if you're slightly quirky, you're autistic now because it's 1 in 10. The umbrella's too wide and the vaccines have too much mercury.
No, it's interesting. Here's the CDC stats. You gotta zoom in
Wait, these are
just a
CDC
touch.
stats.
Yep,
1 in
1 in
36, yeah, not 1 in
36.
10. I
That's
guess the
just what
1 in 10 is
RFK
like,
said.
oh, if the trend continues by 2024.
Maybe. Who the fuck knows?
And
But
also,
even
definitely, actually, so here's the crazy thought I had about autism recently. It's great that we're just leading off the show with this because it's a developmental disorder, whereas growing up in the 90s, it was actually like a, a birth
we still
disorder
have a
of,
development disorder. Yeah, exactly.
well, yeah, well, it's one of the things where it's like a birth disorder, where it's like, oh, that person is messed up. But then it just kind of become a more social thing. And after 2020, where we're not allowed to talk to each other, we're masking all of our facial expressions and then inhaling carbon dioxide and even more pollutants for fucking years. Yeah, I would actually not be surprised if it's 1 in 10 now. Not because of genetics, not because of anything, because social media has made us autistic by this new definition.
Yeah,
And we're
and
not
like
allowed to say
even if you,
retard anymore.
why not? That's crazy.
I mean, but we haven't been able to. That's what I mean. Like in the 90s,
We just
that's what
can't
I.
say it in this term. We can't say it in this.
Yeah.
But like, I was actually going to use the original information of what retarding is,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what the world is kind of doing to us right now. It's
Yeah.
retarding us. It's making us less and less and less of a person. So that way we're unable to kind of do these things that we've taught ourselves how to do for the past, since have
Well, that's
existed.
another thing about like all the corporations and the parties flipping, where now the conservatives are the health nuts that are skeptical of big government and corporations, and the leftists are the ones that are just like folding to corporations and more government control. And that's like the weird thing. It's like, wait, all these evil billionaire CEOs and capitalists and stuff, but now you're just feeding into big pharma with all the illness. Like, we're deliberately being made physically ill and mentally ill to then get farmed by big pharma and corporations and advertisements, and the left is fine with it. When did that happen?
No, and that's the weird thing.
Like, this is
Wasn't the
deliberate.
left the anarchists? Wasn't the left the super, super crony people who just
The
were
hippies that
afraid of
just want
everything?
to have like ghee and shit. And now they want seed oils.
I don't fucking understand it, man. And like, even if that number of autists aren't fucking 1 in 10, and that is just the reported people, which it very well might be. Who the fuck knows? Because it could be self-reported, which brings it to 1 in 10,
Hmm.
which makes a lot of sense if you think about it with how many people on there fucking Tinder bios or Bumble bios are like, I'm all ADHD. Motherfucker, you haven't been diagnosed with shit. You just like coffee a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee and frogs. That's about it. Um,
Coffee frogs and
shit
like
is
maybe one of your chromosomes is acting a little funny, but it's not enough.
exactly. You're slightly downy. You're not full down with the sickness yet. There's a slight difference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what gets really fucky with this shit is I genuinely don't understand exactly why nobody gets it or understands it yet. When I
Because
sat here
we're
and had
all autistic now. They're too brainwashed to understand.
no, like when I was fucking 14, 15 years old, I was talking to 20, 30 people on AIM all day, every day while I was playing video games. It was an everyday, all day thing. It was group message here, group message
Yeah,
there,
because it's actually a
text with this
social
person,
thing back
text
then.
with that person. You have full on conversations. It doesn't stop. You just keep integrating more and more people, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like
Oh, Skype, yeah.
you're so withdrawn from everything that there's nothing available to kind of get that humanization to anything. And everybody's like, well, why is everybody so weird? Everybody's so weird because we stopped fucking trying like 15
Mm-hmm.
years ago. We
Yeah.
stopped wanting to leave the house. We stopped wanting to do anything. We stopped wanting to actually human.
We just let the dead internet algorithms carry us because it's hard to think and dopamine is way too accessible. Because like you used to actually have to like manage shit for AIM and keep up with your friends. Same thing on Skype. Now Discord, you're just in 100 servers you never look at, and then maybe you find the update and everything's just spooned into you. And that's what's making everyone weird. And actually, as you were talking, I had a great epiphany. I'm happy that everyone's autistic because if everyone's something, no one's something, and we can all go back to being normal instead of being like, look at me, I'm autistic. I'm going to use that to deflect all of my problems and blame off of everyone. When really, not by any standards. The umbrella had to widen so much, and you had to cook your brain until you went, never mind, I'm this thing. That also goes back to what we've seen back in like 2013, 2014. Everyone's Twitter bios, I have mental illness, I have depression, look at me, look at me. When it's just like, oh, cool, all the self-diagnosis is going even crazier now. And I was also
And
reflecting on other content on my second channel, Peak Verlicify, where there was that one dude that faked a hate crime against himself to attack me back in 2017. Nothing's changed.
dude, I was genuinely confused and about to message you about that channel. And I was like, is this your no nope, this is your channel. I'm good. Because you quoted something at the beginning where you're like, oh, this is my other channel now. And I was like, okay, good. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
can sign off on this channel and completely understand. And
Well,
I
yeah, that was
completely
Hot
went
Takes.
autistic.
That was my original like social commentary channel I made in 2020 when like the shadow ban Giga hit my channel. Yeah, we're good there. So the shadow ban Giga hit my channel. I went, all right, the only out is becoming another Tim Pool or the quartering because I got some spicy takes. And then those takes were too spicy on Hot Takes, so I changed it to Verlicify Extra, where I'm just kind of like, well, I don't want to tank my main channel by making like a Pokemon Unite patch notes video. That's only going to get like 2,000 views no matter where I post it, so let's not hurt myself in the algorithm. And now it's just like, it's just my archive because it's a lot easier to put stuff where it's like, oh yeah, remember back in 2017 where VGC players were faking hate crimes and there was also just that massive epidemic of everyone Trump deranging, drawing swastikas all over their stuff, and it turns out they're the ones doing it. So fake hate crimes haven't changed, probably only gone up in percentage or like ratio or something.
This might be a conspiracy theory. I've seen it 2 or 3 places. I didn't even fully go into understanding exactly what was going on. But do you remember the SS movement and riot that happened in Ohio about like a month ago or so, maybe 3
There's
weeks
so
ago?
many fake ones where
They were
like
walking around with black and red flags.
it's
They stuck
always
out like sore thumbs.
it's well the thing is like those happen like after a major thing happens politically. It's definitely a Fed operation. Everyone's like, oh, the Feds are
That's
marching again with
exactly
their
what's
iron
come out,
flags.
is that it was completely done by the FBI. Now, who the fuck knows if that's true, honest, or whatever? You
Mm-hmm.
could hear both sides. Both sides could be completely poignant and make
Well, I
sense.
think because they're tying that to January 6th, where it literally came out that there were Fed agents provoking J6 to get people into the Capitol. Like, that is
Yep.
100% confirmed by the House Investigation
Oh,
Committee.
look at this dude. This dude.
Hello,
Yeah!
it's me.
We're
Happy
joined
you
by
made it.
Ryan this week.
Oh, let me put my brightness up. Can you hear me?
Yes,
You're good, yeah.
yes, we can hear you. You're good.
I haven't heard any audio cutting on my side, so I don't know what.
Yeah, I think we're good. It seems like there's been intermittent shit on
The
everything.
local recording's probably
Yeah,
fine. Happy you're here,
exactly.
Ryan. Good.
Yeah.
Happy you made some time. What's going on?
Nothing too much. Just feeling a little better, but seasonal sickness. But I've been literally sick since like Thanksgiving, since the day after Thanksgiving.
That's
So.
fucking hell. Did you get some fucking poison turkey that they're trying to sell at the store now? Is that what happened?
Well, I prefer it. Yeah, it tastes a little better than the regular one. It's worth it.
Exactly. Those chemicals add a little something.
It's a little HBU, which is Italian.
Exactly. So I had 4 things up. 5. Oh, wow. I really catered this docket to you, crazily enough. So do you want to talk about some dick leaks, some CEO murders, Jay-Z, Hunter Biden? What do you want to go to, boys?
Well, I'm usually bombarded by the news topics like Hunter Biden sort of stuff with my regular job, but I don't think an adequate amount of time was put on the Jay-Z thing.
Okay, so why don't you break that down a little bit? Because some of it is fucking crazy to me, and I'm surprised that I was completely vindicated because he is who I bet that was going to be implicated in this first. And it seems like the rock has already dropped.
Yeah, he's an odd guy, and he's always been dabbling in like the occult, or like at least playing with. First of all, like naming himself like Jehovah.
A little complex going on there.
I would say so, and not in a complex magazine sort of way, in a more spiritually complex sense. He's always doing the Illuminati hand symbols and all that stuff, so that's interesting. But then, that chick who did the spirit cooking, Marina Abramovich?
Yeah.
So they did like some art installation thing together where he's performing and she's just kind of standing there. It's really weird. It's all like in a white room, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Jay-Z. What's up, everybody?" And he's rapping, and then she's like standing there being weird. So he's got ties with her. Him and Beyonce. Oh yeah. So, and then I saw a video of Diddy slapping his ass on stage. Did you ever see that footage? You know that exists?
No, but like it's one of those things where it all adds up over time where it's just like that's a little quirky. Oh, that guy, he might have something silly going on or he's just silly himself, but one day it'll come out. I think that's what's happened. Like over the last decades of this. It's like one day it'll come out and it'll be funny when it does because that's sus, but we're just going to move on cuz it's nothing at this time.
And the weird thing is, and Ryan can speak to this with living downstate as well, is in the cities, anything that is any bit remotely questionable with another dude is seen as fucking wrong. It's like you don't do this. Dudes don't accept this. And the fact that the 2 big dudes that are like gangsters are doing this shit is fucking weird.
I think times have changed though. Like I used to think that too, where like the hip hop community is especially sensitive
hetero, just
hetero,
very straight,
very hetero. But then like after Lil Wayne and Dipset came out, this is back when I actually like didn't despise rap and hip hop, and I noticed like they had like the tight jean thing going on, and so I was like, well, that's like weird because like so far only the scene kids that I know buy girl jeans, and so that kind of it opened up this whole kind of sub community of like skinny jean ass dudes. And so I thought that was kind of odd. But then if you really walk around New York City enough, you realize that all of like the trans people in the city, they're all black. And I don't know why but I think it's coming out now that like the majority of black males are on the DL. Maybe not all of them, but it seems to be
Almost like a fear-based thing where they're like, I can't like it just being gay. I have to be a woman so that way it's accepted.
That's an interesting.
I've kind of noticed that trend too, because like you see a story about someone, it's like, oh yeah, that's slightly more frequent now, isn't it? And it is kind of in that realm.
And you know what's interesting too? Maybe the fact that they're so against it is like projection, where it's like,
I think the shadow self is a really big thing where like these people they hold on to their demons for so long that they have the popularity, they have the fame, so that's where they can express themselves in some kind of covert way, and that's when you're like, oh, that's sus, and it turns out, oh, they like children, cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Cowboy threw in the chat. Little Wayne kissed Birdman on the lips in public at some point.
Yeah. And so the fact that that wasn't the hugest deal ever, and it wasn't like, I remember it being kind of a thing, but then you know what's crazy too is like the shows that would call that out, like the Breakfast Club or whatever, they get so big that it's like commercialized, and commercialized culture right now protects LGBTQ stuff. So they can't be like, yo, I think that's really bad, and I don't think kissing guys on the lips is
Mhm.
weak. They almost have to accept it because it's like whatever the sort of globalist sort of trend is to use that and market that and make it almost give it more of a voice than it really
Yeah.
exists. Than it exists, yes.
It used to be edgy, and now it's like the thing, and it's like a signal too, where it's like, yeah, I'll kiss a dude on the lips. Being gay doesn't matter. Where it used to just be like, it used to be a power move back in the day to do something like that, and then it's like, oh, nah, it's just them now.
Yeah,
Something
or
cooked
Back in
and
the
or
got them
yeah,
into
gay
that.
chicken was the thing. It was the way to see if somebody actually
Gay
was gay.
chicken.
Now it's
gay.
like gay chicken's like everybody plays it, and there's no line anymore.
Now everyone plays it because
Like I
they're gay.
dated my
It's like
best friend, and
yeah,
I'm still married.
1 in 4 Zoomers are gay now, so like, and
Wow.
it's not even chicken.
You know what's nuts is that like if you take out all the gay stuff from Jackass and CKY, it's just guys cutting themselves with paper, giving themselves paper cuts, and then it's just pain Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but the gay stuff is woven pretty well into the Jackass. But that's why it was exciting, because it was like wrong, and you're like, you shouldn't
Made you
put
uncomfortable.
a kite. You shouldn't put a kite attached to a butt plug in your butt. You shouldn't do
Mm-hmm.
that. But
Yeah, then
then,
it became like a social Olympics as well, on top of the
right,
pain Olympics.
right.
Like, yeah, this complex element to it.
I
Instead of just
saw
like, oh, these are just stupid people hurting themselves. Now it's like you got that edge in there.
right.
I saw a clip of Bam, literally, I think it was this week or the week before, on a podcast. He's like, it was really cool to just be like 15 years old and order a milkshake and then be like, haha, return fire, and then throw it back at them at the drive-through when I was 15. But if I did that at 45, it'd be really fucking weird. I'm like, it was weird from the beginning, dude. It was funny the
Mm-hmm.
first
Yeah,
time. If you do it a second time, it's kind of stupid.
right. I remember coning. That reminds me of coning, where
Mm-hmm.
that kind of, yeah, around that whole summer was full of like trends. I don't know if it started with the ALS bucket challenge, but there was that.
It,
There
it
was,
did.
huh? I
It
think it did,
did.
right?
Planking was the next thing, and that was retarded. I'm
Thank
going
you.
to lay on something and hope that I can lift my legs high enough. And then you see these fat bitches that can't do it. And those were the greatest thing known to man. They would just bend over what the hell they were trying to plank on and fall
Was
flat
that
on
with
their
the
face.
start of Vine as well? Like the
Mhm.
proto TikTok challenge era before? Bro, I think we just pinpointed like the moment where dead internet kicked off. Like that is the societal collapse right there. Was the even though it seemed like it was for a good cause, the Ice Bucket Challenge just tanked us all.
Yeah, yeah, it did. It's interesting too, because it's like, um, after that, yeah, coning was a thing too, but it was almost like a last hurrah of like the Vine. The way people look back at Vine, I think, is correct. Where it's like this was a really unique like set of boundaries to allow for like these mini expressions to happen, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like there really had something magical and funny about those little things. Like I'll watch. I was not big on Vine. I don't think I ever had a Vine, but I
I
would
didn't
watch
either.
compilations on YouTube, and dude, very funny.
Hour-long
Oh yeah, some of
compilations
those
were
compilations
fantastic.
are great, especially puns. Like if you can sell a pun in 7 seconds,
Mm.
you got it.
I can sell a pun in 7 seconds. You give me any word with more than
It'll
two
be
syllables.
wonderful.
Say any
Wonderful.
word. Wonderful. Hmm. I like tutorful better, or threeterful. But yeah, wonderful's fine.
Well, I didn't see where you're going with that. Then you damn, good one.
Thank you. What did I say the other day? Oh yeah, it was my proudest pun on the show was Gavin was he was looking at this video of a guy You ever see that video? He's doing like an expressionist art. He's going up a flight of stairs, and then there's a trampoline next to it, and he falls off the stairs, and then
Mhm.
it kind of bounces him back on the stairs. He's like, he's almost to the top, he falls, and then he bounces back on. And he's like, this is art. This is, and in a way, what I do is art as a broadcaster. You know, like Alex Jones, even like Howard Stern to a degree. We're like philosophers. And I said, well, he's a fell off of stairs.
Mhm.
It was
My favorite.
it
My favorite
sound-
one was I was trying to give the boys a thing to slogan for Lock and Load.
Oh,
And they were trying to come up with it live on the show, and I came across with a banner and it said, "Take your mouthful so that way she'll have to swallow twice." And
that's pretty
they're
good.
like, "No, just no." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, you have to swallow Lock and Load twice a day. You give her 2 mouthfuls." I was like, "That's perfect."
Yeah, because it's also like
Or
9 pills,
two-
that's a mouthful of pills.
a mouthful for him and her, but then you'd have to show the amount of pills that. Yeah, so it's like 9. It's 9 pills, right?
It's 6 now, but
Yo,
yeah,
what
it
you need
was
to do is
9 at
take
the
like one of
time.
those like little sperm donation cups and fill it with Lock and Load and be like, this could be you.
That is smart. That is smart. You know,
Yeah, no,
Zach's making a note right now for copy.
I was curious about that back in the day, but then I was like, that seems like too much of a commitment. 9, but 6 doesn't. But
I commented, "Muscle it down so she has to."
that's not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Do you have
I-
Lock and Load merch?
What was that?
Merch.
Do you have merch?
Nah,
You should.
no Lock and Load merch.
I feel like the sales on that are incredible. I mean, I'd have to ask my priest whether that's a thing that I could play around with, and I don't know if it's worth it anymore. But there was a
It
time.
doesn't increase fertility. It only creates more fluid.
Volume goes up. I've been on it for a while and it works and it's impressive. Triple.
That's really. I think there is an effect, especially like with zinc and magnesium, right? That has to be
Mhm.
part of the complex, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And sunflower lecithin.
Lecithin.
I definitely had
Back to the
noticed.
seed oils.
It was really Kyle from the show that, because the thing was like I was aware of Derek from More Plates More Dates, but I was like, well, that guy's like a freak of nature, and he was always this way, and he's just the kind of guy that does that. But when you see somebody who you could more relate to, like that's a guy who's on a show and talks, and when he has a take, most of the time I relate to what he says.
Oh, 100%.
So when he gets like, oh, I'm just going to do this, it's very inspiring because you're like, well, I was kind of like vicariously on the show through you, so then maybe I can do it. And I just tried it. My wife was pregnant, and I knew I was going to gain weight anyway, so then I just tried to use that as a gain to then work out.
Yeah, the thing
wish
about
I could've
Kyle
done
on the
that
show
when I
is because
grew
he's
up.
like such a normal dude, and you grew up with the gun shooting Russian guy. It's like if he has a take, I'm gonna feel less insecure about that take too. And it's like, did it? Yeah, he has the same thing. But then I feel like if I somehow miraculously ever made it on the show, it'd be like the most boring. I do not relate with anyone flop of a show just because of unlucky. Whereas like the 3 shows before, it's like I would have talked about any of those topics.
Well, if
No.
you could provide a good contrast if you don't relate to either of those 3, let's say, with your particular takes, then you're providing something new.
Yeah, and then the comments hate it, and I'll never be seen again.
Yeah, right.
All you have to do is just go completely fully in your fursuit and say that you do not want to fuck anybody as a furry.
Is that true?
Just completely
Well,
disconnect.
I don't own a suit. I blew that opportunity, and
If you have
then
That's,
I'm
do you have
never yiffed. I actually haven't. I guess I'm a fraud furry. I should just take this shit off. Fuck it.
if you have to rent suits, that seems sketchy.
I don't rent. Dude, who would rent? Oh
I would
god.
get an STD.
That's true. Sepsis.
But everything.
See,
It'd be
if-
like that fucking Simpsons skit where it's just like, Mr. Burns, you have every illness.
So I would definitely lead with the furry thing, and I think I heard them talking on the show about how they know a disproportionate amount of furries.
That's because of internet culture. But yeah, they've talked it because I've been in like the $50 calls and stuff, and there's a couple furries in there, and they bring them up from time to time. I'm not as overt about it as them, but I just chill.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, because the Renaissance Fair, I had worked there for a couple of summers and really liked it a lot. And that's the kind of place where it's almost like a Comic-Con sort of environment where people want to dress up as all sorts of things like Frozone. It's like, where am I going to get to dress up as Frozone? Comic-Con's not till next year. I'll just go to the Renaissance Fair. So it kind of became that. But there was a time where it was strict. And it was like, no Jack Sparrows. That is not period accurate. No pirates. I don't know if pirates were period accurate at the time.
Now they're singing Backstreet Boys.
I haven't been to a
And
Ren Fair in
whipping.
a long time. I didn't know it's kind of just become another convention, like sci-fi con kind of thing.
It is, yeah. So, but there was a time where it was a little more strict. I'm not sure where I stand on that. I don't have strong feelings on this sort of like, should it be period accurate? Should it be
I feel like it should, because there's more than enough events. You can find one
Yeah.
every other month where it's like, just wait a month and go to that. Don't ruin the person that
Well, no,
actually wants to be an elf and be like represent with their handmade bow. Don't take that away from them by
So-
dressing as Superman.
That's a good
I
point.
saw a really weird one when I was working at a department store before. I was working in the deli, and this dude came in, and it said Star Trek Ticonderoga. Now, if you don't know what fucking Ticonderoga is, it's one of the places during the American Revolution that we had like a fortress that we fought for.
Mhm.
So why we're celebrating Star Trek at Fort Ticonderoga? Zero fucking idea. But that was one of the weirdest connection things. Like, and I've seen like weird things like My Little Pony and fucking Comic-Con and weird shit like that. But why the fuck is there Star Trek at a American fort?
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it looks like one of those planets with like the rubble, like where
I don't know.
Yeah, like it actually seems like some alternate episode where it's like, oh, we landed on Bizarro
Oh,
Earth where
that's-
they're in the 1700s.
Yeah,
That's why. So weirdest connection ever. Google just gave me the answer, although I'm not this autistic to Google this anytime other than when I'm thinking about it. It is part of one of the original sets is set in Fort Ticonderoga, New York.
bam. They should call it Trek Conderoga though.
It is. That's what it's
Is
called.
it called Trek Conderoga?
Yep.
All right, good.
TREK Onderoga. Yep.
I must have forgot that.
Ryan was on it 'cause he's like, yeah, that place just looks like a set then.
Yep. William Shatner gives you the tour in
What
2019.
about William Shatner?
It would be hilarious. Just him walking around with a big old shit in his pants.
William Shatner. Well, just a little bit of shit, mostly gas.
Mm-hmm.
No, you I know what the worst thing about being a dad is?
What's
It's
that?
kind of the funniest too.
Mm.
Your kid's walking around in their diaper or their onesie, and you just see this ball of shit that's slowly growing as they're fucking trying to waddle around and get their drink and everything else. It's just slowly just getting larger and larger. Did you shit? No. No, I didn't. You
What
didn't shit? No.
Right
Well-
now,
Oh.
our kid trying to, he just rips off his diaper and he's fascinated with the power that he has. Is that one of them? Okay. She's going to get this one, but then I'm going to probably have to bounce after that because once she goes to bed, I'd like to cover for her for all baby wake ups for the rest of the night.
That
But
makes sense.
No, we understand.
the next time I'm on, this wouldn't happen. That's
Unless you have COVID
understandable.
again. That'd be
Unless
that wouldn't be funny, but it'd be kind of funny.
it would. I don't know if it was COVID. It probably, if it's that long, maybe it was. But
Well, I mean, I'm thinking if it's that long, it'd just be like a flu. Like we forgot what the flu is, where sometimes you're just
Maybe.
weird for 3 weeks.
But
You're
that's-
forgetting you're in New York. We don't
Fever-
have the flu anymore. Only COVID.
I think you're right. I think they just rebranded, really. But
Mhm.
the crazy thing is that there's only one day, and it was part of the day where I felt bad. The rest of the time I felt great, but had symptoms. So hawking up phlegm, unable to like talk without coughing, no real sneezing. Anyway, but like I never felt like my head was swollen, my skin felt sensitive like you do with a fever. Really weird. So it was like the most mild cold ever, but just a long period, and then different symptoms throughout, like that weave through. Pretty interesting. I highly recommend it.
So to tie back to this Jay-Z shit, I remember when everything started falling for P. Diddy to begin with.
Mm.
There was a leaked video, but not an actual video. It was like a screenshot or a screen grab of like security cam footage that somebody took of him, Jay-Z, and Beyonce all fucking. It was like a three-way thing where it was an edited picture of some kind. And I was like, there's going to be something that comes out about this. There's just going to be something.
And J-Lo wasn't in it? I thought I remember something about...
There was something about her
Everyone's
around the same
involved, all
exact
of-
time. Yeah.
Yeah, the entire media industry, because as we saw with like Nickelodeon, with all those execs liking children's feet, who knows what's going on there? Now Ellen, every time something comes out, it's like, and here's the Ellen DeGeneres part where like
Did you
she had
see
cancer kids with the P Diddy showing up, and they all went
Yeah,
crazy.
That's
Oh,
what I
And
was
then
gonna say. Did
wearing
you see that one?
Jay-Z's shirt and hanging out with Jay-Z, it's like they're all in on it. And now she fled to the UK to go to a 99.9% white town or something.
Wow. And then she got flooded.
Twice. It
Very
got
funny.
flooded and then unflooded and then flooded again. Guys, look, Luigi.
It's a me.
I like how you just gave up on the beanie, and then that's like 90% of your appearances. Just like fucking this one.
I'm on
Playing
and
with
off
the beanie.
it, but I like how, because you know when it gets too floofy up here, I like to just kind of like...
I like the flip though. I like that style.
I like the sort of I don't have eyebrows sort of Tim Pool's evil brother sort of look.
Yeah, that has a very menacing, strange vibe to it.
It does.
You look like the dude that everybody would be like, hey, Hector, can you grab me a 40 from the gas station down the road?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then everybody would be like, you're
Oh.
fucked up. And it's like, you did it last week.
Come on, man. It's not my turn again. But you know what I was thinking about the other day? Who's kind of ties into like P. Diddy-ish sex freaks, Jay-Z sex freak stuff, is Danny Elfman. Now, Danny Elfman and Tim Burton and Marilyn Manson and probably who's another spooky, like Johnny Depp, like there's the spookies, like the Hollywood
Mhm.
spooky.
Yep.
Where like, oh well, those guys, they probably deal with blood and guts in the bedroom. And so they're kind of just given this pass of like, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just all the weird stuff you could think about. That's just part of their...
Yeah, they have dungeon behind a bookcase somewhere, and they'd just be like, well,
Exactly. But how weird is it that like we give guys a pass because like, well, they're spooky, so
They're
they get...
well, as long as there's no kids, and then it just turns out everyone else is into kids and feet, and it's like, nah, I don't.
But my
That's
theory
where we go beyond just do you.
if they go into the blood area, I mean, is kids that crazy of a step away from that? Maybe not.
Consensual
This is where it gets
sadism.
confusing, though, is you have the story of It, and that has complete kid problems in it, the entire
Yeah.
fucking story.
True.
So as a whole, how much shit have we, like we as a species, not me specifically, but we as a species actually accepted by what content we've let people create?
Mhm.
And at some point, we're disconnected from saying, hey, here's a problem. And we're just picking and choosing.
I
That's
mean,
true.
yeah.
Since becoming or reverting back to Catholicism, one of the biggest hangups that I hated the Catholic Church for was there's this notion that everybody knows that like that's the pedophile church. And if you look at the numbers, it's really insane how not true that is. 84%, 85% of sexual abuse happens in families, 14% happens in schools, and then that 1% is all religious institutions. And then in the lower bracket of 1% of that 1% is the Catholic Church. But the problem is because it's upheld to be such a like held up to be an altruistic and
Virtuous, righteous.
Yeah. So it just, the contrast is there. Unlike Tim Burton and Danny Elfman, which they get ripped when they're like 70 for some weird reason. They play concerts without their shirts on. This is just Danny Elfman. He has red hair with a middle part. He looks scary, and he's got these weird tattoos all over. It's a weird thing to do because if you look like 10 to 15 years ago, he just looked like that. Yeah, that's what he looked like 10 to 15 years ago. Now he's got long hair. He's showing the eyes. He doesn't hide them with the sunglasses. He's got tattoos all over the place. It's a weird time
Like
in your
cult
life.
vibes.
Total cult vibe. Like No offense, because you look like Jared Leto, but like Jared Leto cult leader sort of vibes.
He's 30 seconds to Pokemon. It's okay.
I'm just thinking
Um,
about the
Really?
like normalization through the entertainment industry. Maybe it's just been a long con for the last 50 years of just like normalizing the violence and normalizing that sexuality. I mean, we already know this, and that's why everyone's going back
well,
to finding religion and detaching from all this nonsense. And now they're all getting caught finally.
it gets weirder. So I finally came out about my abuse as a kid in like 2018, 2019.
Mm.
And I don't know if you had TV at the time, Ryan, but they were starting to run a whole bunch of commercials for lawyers that were willing to sue the church, willing to sue Boy Scouts and stuff like that for abuse that happened to them
Right.
because they're big organizations and stuff like that.
Mm.
The governor of New York at the time, Andrew Cuomo, came out and said, "Hey, we support all of these people that are coming out and saying, hey, I was abused and everything else.
Mm.
We're going to leave an open window for like 2 or 3 years where you're able to sue anybody civilly for these things that happened in your childhood,"
Nice.
which sounds fantastic. You're like, oh, that's great.
Right.
The only people that they were accepting lawsuits for
Mm.
were organizations that actually held monetary value. If it was person to person or familial, they were not, no lawyers that were a part of that were accepting any of the
That
cases.
is interesting. With an echo. Interesting.
They just want to take down the church and the Boy
Mhm.
Scouts of America because not the All Scouts of America. These institutions that have small, but because of their status, it's inflated. Because I think I did see a chart where it's just like, here's the 300 cases of Catholic diddling, and then compared to everything else, it's like, whoop, off the
Yeah.
charts.
Yeah,
But that
the
seems
big
to be
problem with it is that they moved the pastors around instead of getting rid
that.
of them and stuff like that.
That is a problem where just like, there needs to be some more outing and then the story just gets bigger and explodes. But even then, that's when you're creating the news instead of using all the statistics and everything to show what's happening in the world.
Right. But yeah, it's like I really wish that they had handled it differently so that way that
Don't
couldn't
give
be
them ammo.
right. And it's sad. I mean, there's so much. I mean, the last thing I want to do is like doubt the validity of them or anything like that. But like, I really wonder why they would just move them instead of just, I don't know. That just seems like a really bad move. But anywho, last thing on Danny Elfman. So it's just accepted that because he makes songs that because he makes things that there's our modern day Danny Elfman. Because he makes songs that are wacky, spooky, creepy, ghouly, that we don't know what he's up to. Now, I'm not claiming he is up to anything. He could just be a married guy that's totally chill. But in our heads, we are like, he gets a pass for that. And I think Jay-Z, for the most part, we as a society are like, that guy gets a pass. He's a rapper, man. He could do whatever he wants. But when it is interesting that it's only when it's this sort of definitely illegal, not chill thing. But if he was any other kind of creep in the spectrum, I think it would be okay. But the fact that it's a cold, hard, illegal, we could all agree. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there's a move to try to normalize things like that. There's groups of people that are like, they call them maps.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I feel like this is the chance to really, if they're caught for stuff like this, to put their feet to the coals.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to, in the interest of justice going forward, and to hold that ground. Otherwise, in 10 years, it's going to be okay. And then they're going to see like
Yeah.
kid bots and AI kids, and that's going to be like a thing. We've definitely gotten to a point where a jackass stunt is now just like, hey, that's what I do to get off. I put a kite in my butt. That's my thing. It's no longer like an odd thing to do. The way I get off is I put on the song CKY 96 Quite Bitter Beings and run around with a shopping cart and crash into bushes. That's my fetish, bro. But like, I think
Exactly.
that
I stick the girl in the shopping cart and I run and I hope that I'm able to catch up and touch at some point. But I'm not really sure if exactly it'll ever work.
if I don't crash the right sort of bush, it doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Oh my god, I just had like a really disgusting connection to this because it's about giving more autonomy to minors and consent for their bodies as we see this encroachment through these movements where it's like, oh, you're not allowed to drink, but you can castrate yourself at 14.
Yeah, you know, that's true.
That's what I
That
mean. Like, oh, now we're giving these sexual autonomies. And then whenever you bring it up, it's like, that's not what LGBT is about. It's like, then why are there rainbows and all these things in classrooms and the
right.
drag queen story hours? Like, they're coming for kids. And then they say it ironically, but that's the shadow self talking again. Now it's like, come on, can we, how about this? I don't, do you. When you're 18 plus, do you when it's legal. But if you start coming for kids, I'm going to use everything about you against you for that one.
Right. And I will say that, like, I know that there are people that are serious people and they are attracted to the same sex, and this is through the conservative political movement. And I remember hearing them say that, like, they feel like that whole the LGBT stuff is like demeaning because it's like it's making a complete circus out of a thing that maybe even some of them want to like work on, and they want to have a family and not have that inclination. So there are those people out there, and so instead of just kind of rah, let's just fulfill that and run.
Well, even Milo was like that for the longest time, even when he was on PKA.
Who was that?
He said, Milo. He said
He
was like,
The Milo.
yeah.
yeah. He was like, when the greatest time for gay guys was actually like the 1930s and 40s when we had to have a fake life that actually made us procreate and everything else.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I've also heard a lot about just the damage that LGBT has done to a lot of just traditionally gay people. We're just like, now we have too much attention. Just like, you should have just given us marriage rights and stopped there, but now everyone hates us.
And there's this weird balance too, what I think Catholics would even concede is like the atmosphere, the social atmosphere back when this happened, where they would just, if you had like a gay son, maybe the best decision for them was to throw them into the seminary. Like, I think that might have been kind of that might link up time wise with maybe some of the abuse, because it's, I don't know, that's kind of, it's kind of harsh to say that, but in the Vietnam War cowards too, that my wife points out too, is they wanted to dodge the draft, so a lot of like weak people were entered into the seminary, and maybe that's a lack of discretion from the church, but also I will say that, like, if a society is like, you better keep that secret, then it's tough too, because you're like, well, what is the consequence of that they have to keep it?
I think that's a really good thought, because like the more that keeps coming out, the further we look back, and the more like we keep diving in things like, oh, this is like way worse than we thought, and oh, this was a plan that's been brewing for decades. Yeah, what happens when you take everyone in the 80s that's like repressed gay, you put them in a church, and then they work their way up into higher power, and they still have that attraction.
Right. Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, and you repress them the entire time as well, so they have no sexual outlet. They're just sitting there stewing on until they go for someone.
You're seeing it on a grander scale with the degeneracy that even straight people have now. Is like, it's no longer just what happens in your bedroom. It's all of your everyday life, and everything that you do and everything that you are now is stuck to your fucking forehead. It's now your body count is everything that is valuable about you, and everything else, or I do this in bed, therefore I'm cool. And it's like, okay, I can understand where in certain topics and certain situations, that's an interesting conversation to have. But why are we leading off with that as the main thing that everybody wants to talk about ever? Why is that the basis of every conversation?
Yeah.
Or, oh, I have an OnlyFans, therefore, if you don't accept that, don't swipe right. It's like, okay, so why are you here? To promote your OnlyFans.
The common thread seems to be here is that when virtue takes a backseat and takes the backseat and lets culture drive, you'll get either the complete, like, you better not have same-sex attraction, but there's a way to deal with that. Like, the church is like, Pope Francis gets a lot of heat for being like liberal, but I don't see that. He reaffirms the tradition of the church all the time, but what he says is like, well, open the doors to people of all sorts, so that way, like, it's a hospital for sinners and not a museum of saints. It's like if
That's a really good idea.
yeah, and like the inclination isn't a
But it
sin.
should be.
Your attraction to whatever isn't a sin. It's only a sin if you act upon it in any sort of whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
and then so taking a backseat to culture, being like, nope, you better not talk about it. And then also now we're in the complete opposite, where it's like, hey, you should be as like you should wear that on your sleeve, and you should promote the fact that your kink is whatever it is. It's yet again, virtue takes a back seat to say. And if you see that from that chick who slept with 100 guys in one day, she does not look very happy to me afterwards. She was crying and she felt very bad. And
It's
everywhere,
just 3 STDs
The
now.
pendulum just keeps swinging. We never like find a gravity of
Right.
where we should be. It's always just more extreme one way, and then we retrace the other way. And now the pendulum's going back. Hopefully, I thought it was going to go back in like 2014 after the Evergreen College shenanigans with Brett Weinstein. Yeah, after I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is unsustainable. A decade later, we're here.
not Brett Weinstein,
Oh,
Harvey.
Yeah. That's what I mean. There's so many of them.
Brett Weinstein is just like that very moderate,
Yeah.
like kind of Jewish professor guy. And I was like, that guy does not seem like he has any controversy. What the hell happened with him? But no, Harvey.
Well,
yeah, Harvey Weinstein.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way,
and there's the crazy
made
shit that
them
happened with Destiny.
huh? Oh, Destiny, yeah.
Yeah. That shit was interesting to say the least too. Everybody's like, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay, and there's him sucking a dick. I'm really confused.
Yeah, what's the confusion? He's been saying that's what he does. I was not shocked at all because he had said it so many
I
times.
saw everyone just kind of saying like, this is a non-thing. Like, cool.
Right.
No, the weird
Good
thing
for him.
was they wanted it to be what's his face. Yeah, they wanted it to be Nick. The only person that they accept is Nick Fuentes, and it's like, okay, it might be Nick. It very well might be. They are seen with a picture literally just beforehand. I'm not surprised even if it was. Well, why does it matter?
Yeah. Oh, Cowboy in the chat. It's like there's Eric, there's Brett, and there's Harvey. And you gotta pick the right one because one of those is not the one to bring up.
The thing with Nick though is like it's definitely not him. And those posts, it was it's debunked, but people really wanted it to be true so bad that the date where he was doing the podcast with him and that lines up, it doesn't line up. But the reason they want it to be him so bad is because they want anything, and even the people that are like pro gay want him to be gay as a sort of insult to make his like his points crumble. But
doesn't that insult you in the grand scheme of things? He's saying these negative things about you, and even if he is gay, which he very well might be, I'm not saying he is or he isn't.
I really don't
He's
think
saying negative things about the things, regardless.
And I know straight people confirmed that are gayer than Nick, and in a way of like, I don't know how to explain that, but like maybe a little more. I was going to use Milo as an example, but he's an actual struggling to not be gay guy. No, I just don't see it with Nick at all. But I think the thing that they hold against him is that like he wants to remain a virgin until marriage, and then also calls heterosexual sex gay, because if you are just doing it to fulfill your bodily need, then it's no difference. Like if, in other words, if in the Catholic view, if you separate the marital act from marriage, any hole will do. And so in that regard, it might as well be.
I mean, I can see that rationale if you're trying to be like extra pure.
Right.
Which is like, if you do it for pleasure, that's just gay, bro.
Yeah, I could see it. And I agree with it. My lifestyle was not that, but sometimes I had wished I had saved it for marriage, but I usually only the times when I allow myself to regret, which I don't think is a good thing to do, because it's kind of like despairy to do that. So I don't really regret anything in my life, because I'm here now with about to be 3 kids and a wife, and I'm very happy about everything. So you got to be careful not to regret, because it would change where you are now. But I envy the idea that saving yourself for marriage. I wish that's something I could have given to my wife, And so, but it was just, there's so many things that pull at you, like making everybody want, like look at Quagmire as like, hey, I'm gonna be Quagmire. I'm gonna be Stifler from American Pie, where you just get so laid, dude. And then you wind up feeling like, I remember after hookups, you feel like the only value this holds is to tell somebody about it because it's gone. And it was like,
And
you know,
you also give that part of yourself just away forever.
yeah, no, it's true.
And I think that's the entertainment machine as well, where it's just like, look at all these people we love. Neil Patrick Harris, oh, what a player! And then you do it, you're just an empty husk that needs more entertainment to fuel them.
Right.
It's all fucking calculated, and that's why I just get angrier at every day. Where I'm just like, oh, the big pharma, and we're just being made deliberately sick to be given the remedy and not the cure. All this shit.
Actually, what's funny about that my wife just said she was watching Survivor, and that there's a pill out that that is meant to cure the symptoms of the other pill. That's what the use of the pill is. Imagine lock and load the alternative pill. Here's how to decrease your volume if you're getting too much volume.
Exactly. Are you tired of cleaning up for 10 minutes every time?
Yeah.
You tired of bleaching your sheets and your clothes?
Right.
Bro, I will say, like, lock and load has made it inconvenient afterwards.
Yeah, I would imagine. But I, you know what?
For her, you covered half her face.
As a PKA loyalist, I would say my suggestion: if you have an issue with the volume, don't stop taking lock and load. Take lock and load minus, which brings you back to normal. So
or just don't drink as much.
Exactly.
Fluid.
You don't go from below average to like top 1%, and then you just want to land back in average.
Right.
You just want to dial it in
with lock and slow.
Lock and slowed. It slows it down a little bit. But the guys, Blue Chew, Lock and Load, and I forget the other sponsor too. But I'm a company man, okay? As a fan, I will never talk against the sponsors. I think they're great. And also, I'm really jealous I don't have the merch. So, does anybody have an example of the red and black tie-dye hoodie in person?
I don't, but I have the unreleased PKA hat.
Ooh, that is
that looks clean.
And I have an unreleased PKA hoodie upstairs too.
I would bend the brim, but other than that, that's a perfect hat.
I don't even have my RMTS one of the champion hoodie. I have one. I have 3 of them for mine, but
the tie-dye one.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I want that. Is it actually tie-dye? It wouldn't change it if it wasn't.
No, or is it print? It's beautiful. No, it's tie-dye through the entire thing.
Tie-dye?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like how you just in display like tie-dye? Yeah. Tie-dye? Yeah. Okay. Tie-dye? Yeah.
Yeah. You froze for a second. No.
I didn't freeze for me. All right.
That is literally sick, and I can't believe they haven't had merch before. Unless they had, and I just was late to the boat. But that's all you, isn't it?
Yep, nice. It is. You helped me.
With that one, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. You like this idea? Nah, this one's better. Yeah.
I'm just, as a fan and also one of the favorite guests on the show. I'm just kidding.
As the best guest to ever appear on the show, speaking from my privileged favoritism.
Move over, Dick. Move over, Hutch. Move over, Filthy Robot.
Harley can kick rocks.
Harley who? No, I'm just kidding.
Harley awesome. Morenstein? You hear that last name? Oh.
They've really been teasing him about the being a Jew thing lately. It's very funny. But he's a great guy. We've chatted before too. I'd like to be on the show with him. I think that'd be a good show. Woody would not get a word in edgewise. He would be so interrupted.
Can I get a word in? Can I jump in? Guys, please.
I saw the clip. Do you run PKA clips?
No, that okay. I know who it is, but it's not me.
I saw a clip where Kyle just gives up.
Yep.
He got interrupted and and they're like, "Do you want to?" No, go ahead, Kyle. He's like, "Nope."
He's done that like 5 or 6 times now, and that's been the CEO murder one is by far the biggest one.
That is funny. And so
He's
I'd
like,
rather,
no, I brought it up. You tell the story. It's okay.
yeah.
You tell it.
That is
I'm not
so,
talking about it anymore.
that is so good. Because, you know, I appreciate the tactic there, because if you do just pick it up like nothing ever happened, it will never get solved. But in the same way, it's so entertaining to see him cut off and react to it that it must continue. So there's a very delicate balance of solving problems and making them remain for the art of entertainment.
My favorite thing is I know when I post a joke in the chat and I watch Kyle's face, and it's the most hilarious fucking thing in the world because he facially reacts to the things he reads. And he's
He
like,
goes,
"F-
Or when a guest is going crazy, just
yep.
oh yeah, I've seen that.
he always has the
I
Yeah,
was watching
it's
or the look down. We just look down, you know, like shit's going.
while I was on there. I was looking out for those because I know how to read that.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, I'm fucking up. This is me.
Yeah.
That's
It's
not
almost
good.
umpire signals. It's like, okay, well, that was too fast of a ball. I have to curve.
exactly. That one's too good. That one's too good. Went right
Yeah.
over.
How long do you guys do this for? I'm gonna have to cut out, but how long do
2
you
hours.
usually do?
2 hours.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, next time for the whole time, unless again, this COVID never ends.
Well, that's
Absolutely,
looking
brother.
likely on how long COVID and all
Yeah,
that fun stuff.
It's okay. You know, Trump takes over in a month, and then
So
COVID is going to start again. We're going to have swine flu again. From what I don't know if you guys saw that video, but they literally called all of their shots already. They said
really,
COVID's coming back. They said swine
Mhm.
flu's coming back. They said RSV's coming back.
Something's killing people in Africa as well. They're bubbling up a
Zika
new one.
virus. They said
is it
Zika
Africa?
virus is coming back in Texas.
Yeah, it's called other Africans.
Exactly. It definitely isn't the elephants. No, we don't say that here.
Yes, you do. Anyway, that'll be my last statement.
Mhm.
Africans, stop killing each other. Not cool.
I mean, why is that controversial?
Because it's true. I once made a joke. It was me, my friend Jill, and her friend, and another chick for her birthday party, and we were in a Mexican restaurant, and next to us was a like painted mural of like an Aztec pyramid. And I commented and I said it'd be way more realistic if that pyramid had a head rolling down the steps. And then the one girl, lesbian chick, got so offended. She was white, and I'm like half Puerto Rican. My friend Jill's Chilean. She got so offended on the behalf of the Aztec people. They don't exist anymore. They're just Mexicans now. They don't. That people doesn't exist. So who am I? Who are we offending? And if I don't know. And so it was funny. And I was like, you know why you're offended though? Because it's linked to truth. Like if I said, wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be more authentic if there was a helicopter next to the pyramid? It's not true, so it's not funny. They did roll heads down the steps, so you are offended,
That
and
was the point.
because it was true. They did that.
Not allowed calling one savages anymore.
You're right. And by the way, that's what I was thinking. Savages.
Savage
But
Americans,
they-
guys.
Cute joke, and she was so offended on behalf of literally nobody. But anyway, guys, be safe out there. PKA lock and load. Promo code. What is it? PK?
Yeah, it's PKA.
Isn't it just code Jizz? Don't they have that one too?
PKA or coaches, yeah.
That
On
is
all
funny.
things, Derek.
But this is not the PKA podcast. When I use code Velicify for G Fuel.
Yeah. Or
Back to
RMTS.
Skills,
G Fuel.
promo code JIT. That's awesome. You should actually make that happen. Guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I look
Sorry.
forward to you coming on for the full time.
Absolutely.
We'll
Me
have
too.
a nice one.
Always good hanging with you guys. I'll catch you guys later.
Later, brother. Feel better.
Thank you.
Where's the show go from here?
Okay, so CEO murder. This shit is fucking stupid. So, what day was it? Wednesday, Thursday, something like that?
I cannot care anymore, and it seems like the news cycle, like everyone's incompetent. Apparently, like the New York, like NYPD, they put out something that was incredibly wrong, like wrong gun, wrong description, wrong.
Everybody has. Everybody has. I saw somebody say that the dude was using a well rod pistol, which I don't know if
Because
you ever
he
played.
did a fucking and everything. Like the problem is like when we see something and it's like, is that true? That has to be fake because there's no way that blank is happening as much as we thought it was. Like the conspiracy theory, when a conspiracy theory turns out to be true from like the facts, and then you just start to doubt it, where it's like, it's not that bad, right? That turns out actually like, yeah, things are that bad. When something weird happens, like we have him on film doing acts, and we still don't believe our lying eyes in front of that, and there's no way of rationalizing how that happened. So then like fake comes out of it.
Exactly. So this is where fake comes out of it. And I have a point to make into this as well. But this is the same shit they did with the Trayvon case. This picture right
Mm.
here, that fucking cowboy got us, absolutely looks exactly like they did with Trayvon Martin. This is like the glamourization of this dude, Luigi, who murdered somebody
Mm-hmm.
literally a week ago. And he's
Well,
sitting
then the
there
weird
taking
thing
a
is he
picture
looks
with a,
different in every picture. How?
I don't get it. I don't fucking understand it. It doesn't fucking make sense. But this is where it gets really fucking autistic and goes right back to our original topic. He had the oddest level of meticulousness that I've ever fucking seen ever. So on his Twitter header, he had a picture of himself as a thirst trap with like abs and shit, and he was up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had a picture of his back where his back was fused and he had a plate in his back. I guess that is possibly why he went off the deep end, and we'll go into that in a second. And then he had Breloom. What number is Breloom in the Pokedex?
Like 328 or something.
So that's where it
Not
gets weird.
328, but yeah, something.
So the exact number that Breloom is in the Pokedex, I believe it's 250. It's not 256. It's 356, more
Mm-hmm.
than likely. Um, the mileage that he was from New York City, where he waited for a fucking week, was 356 miles.
I didn't see that. I saw that it was a Bible quote.
It is.
I don't think it's both of those that are correct. So one of those
It's
is correct,
both.
and there's no way it's both.
Yes, it's both. Both of them are right. I'm just finding out the
I mean,
exact
one's a
numbers that way I'm
coincidence, and
not
one is
stupid.
actually the truth that was not in the manifesto, I guess.
No, I think he did it on purpose, which is why he waited there for a week.
Like, and why? Like, no one. How did we not find a guy that killed a CEO and he had to give himself up in the strangest way ever? That's like nothing about any of this makes sense. He could have gotten away with it.
Maybe, just maybe, he did exactly what he wanted to do. Is that
And like,
crazy?
he didn't get caught in a weird enough way, so he just kept like making it weirder to get caught. We're just like, oh wow, I really expected that with all the cameras tracking my every movement through New York fucking city. He probably expected to get caught in like 8 hours, and then he was like, I'm out. Now how do I make a statement? Now how do I get my manifesto out there?
Yeah, and that's the exact part. Is like, how far is this shit? Because it's not fucking telling me. It's 286 miles from New York City to there.
I saw a post. Someone's like, "Oh, I used to talk about Pokemon with this dude in some chat group."
It's just weird that those three things connected: the Bible verse, the mileage, and then everything that
Mm.
he was doing.
Well,
And
that
this
that
is
just
where,
makes sense.
like, it's just being meticulous about
Mm.
absolutely everything that he's doing, and that's really interesting because so many people are like, I just do random shit for fun.
Well, like that banner doesn't make sense unless you're someone that got a back injury, lost all the joy in their life, and then killed a CEO of an insurance company. Oh shit.
So, have you ever had an injury like that? Not obviously to that
No,
level, like a
I've
back
never
injury, but
broken a
like a
bone.
broken.
I
Oh,
am. Oh, I'm like so pure. No, COVID vax, low body count, no broken bones.
so with my neck, I can understand completely where you are at such a point of weakness that you could be radicalized in some way.
Hmm.
If
You
like you
either
hear or
you either
feel the
take
wrong
yourself
thing,
out or you take someone else out from what you're dealing with.
you feel odd. You feel disconnected because you're like your entire life is changing. So if he is fucked up by the insurance company that fucked him over in some way and he's not able to do the things that he expected to do, or he needs a second surgery to remove the plates or whatever this is, obviously his medical insurance and medical information isn't going to come out.
Hmm.
It's just not. unless it's in the manifesto. I really kind of feel like that's where it was like he got fucked over by the whole problem with the insurance company
Well, isn't
blocking
the weird
something.
thing that the manifesto isn't about that? Like he
I think
made a
that
statement to police, and it wasn't like, "Oh, I lost everything and I lost all my money and I got my insurance denied." He went to a $40,000 a year high school and then like a $60,000 a year college. Money's not a problem, so why would he take out the health insurance, dude? He was just making a statement. He just went fuck rich people for no reason, but made all
or
these cryptic
did he get
things.
a did he get a back injury where he had nerve problems and everything else and his dick stopped working?
But that wasn't in the manifesto.
Why would it be in the manifesto if he felt like he was going to die anyway? Why would he tell anybody his dick stopped working and Blue Chew didn't
Because
even
that's
help
the
him?
reason. Because like that's
Exactly,
why
that's
you
the
say
reason.
you just say like I'm broken and the insurance is broken. Instead, he just went he just got radicalized by like a college and then decided to go commie. I don't know. He went weird.
Yeah, if a CEO made my dick stop working, I don't know what I'd do. Yeah.
But I mean, like
So
with how meticulous he was, why would he suddenly lie?
the part where I think that this could be rather interesting, and they haven't looked at it yet, is I wonder if he put 287 bills of Monopoly money in the bag that he left in Central Park.
Why? Why did he do? It was such clown shit, and they couldn't catch him. And then
He
he
was
gives
making a
himself
joke of
up.
them. This is going to be the same exact level
But
of
that's the thing. Like
something as
everyone thought he
Bullshit.
was making commentary about the insurance agency, and his manifesto doesn't say that.
Yeah, he was very methodical. He really was. But none of it genuinely points at something. And that's to me where it gets fucking weird. I
Mm-hmm.
don't fucking get it. Like
I
it's
don't know.
like
It's
he was
just
trying
too
to
weird.
plan something. He was trying to prove a point. But it's like, okay, you can't deny claims anymore. Is that all he was fighting for? Because
It
it's
wasn't.
kind of weird.
That's not what he was fighting for. He just decided. No, we don't know. Even with the manifesto, it's so weird.
It's like,
He
did
just
he see
snapped and
5
decided to
people on
say
the
fuck
side of the
rich
road and
people.
chose him? Because that's more likely right now.
That's what I mean. Like I don't know what to say about it because it's so weird, and it ended up like the whole story got so complex and crazy. It's like killing a CEO in the middle of New York City and not getting caught. Then you leave a trail of Monopoly money behind. Like that's the greatest story ever told. And then it slips on a banana peel at the end. We didn't even get like the crazy, yeah, I did it because I lost my insurance and now I have nothing. It's like, oh no, it was a rich kid that got radicalized into college and then decided rich people suck and arbitrarily just took one out and have no commentary about it.
Have you realized how quiet it's gotten since he has been caught?
Well, that's
That
because we got
local
everything and no one cares anymore. Everyone's like, oh, this is just
that
stupid.
that local police department caught him, released the pictures, and after that point, it's gotten really fucking quiet.
Yeah, commentary is needed to confirm what happened because his manifesto just says nah. His manifesto doesn't explain any of that, which is like where you need to see where the shenanigans end. We need to pull up the manifesto and see what he actually said. Because I skimmed it and I saw some other people covering it, but it was just like a big, just like fart in the wind.
Yeah, no, it's so fucking weird. It's almost like that wasn't his. Or it was like the rough draft and he didn't have all of the shit together yet.
Well, I think it was like the statement he gave after getting caught. Like that is his official statement about the situation. Now they had time to reflect and get caught in a McDonald's.
Did you hear the crazy shit about how the guy that caught him in the McDonald's because he didn't call the FBI tip line, he called 911. He's more than likely not getting any of the reward money for what was put on this dude's head.
That's stupid.
It's absolutely retarded,
Our criminal system shouldn't be that obtuse.
but it is. And that's the weird part is they're saying that he's not going to get any of the money found in this situation because he didn't call the FBI tip line. He just called the local PD with 911.
Because I guess if you call the tip line, it's going to take 5 years to catch them, and then they never have to pay anyone. I don't know.
Instead, we caught him in a week. We found his trail of Monopoly money, and that's exactly where it ended. It's just, it was weird. It was funny that I was like, okay, well, I'll write this down as a topic. Why the fuck is Pokemon connected to this? Why, what in the world is this shit? Why is it connected to a Bible verse, Pokemon, and a specific location in PA? That it's just fucking weird. It's so fucking weird. I guess finding the manifesto was hard. I don't see it.
Thought it was
It
on
is.
Twitter or something. That's not.
So
That's what I mean. Like the story just died immediately.
yeah, exactly. Like it's just fucking gone. Nobody cares.
And that's why I'm just like, why are we dragging on trying to make something out of this story? 262 handwritten manifesto. No, that can't be. Okay, there's like actual multiple. Fed typing themselves up while writing Luigi's manifesto. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for the country. See, I saw something like that where it was more like a statement.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
don't think
first,
they actually had one.
save you a lengthy investigation. I'll state plainly I wasn't working with anyone. It was trivial. Some elementary school engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience, spiral notebook. I apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done. Oh yeah, he does say U.S. has the most expensive healthcare system, 42nd in life expectancy. The reality
Yes,
is these people have gotten too powerful and they continue to
that
abuse
is
our
in,
country
buddy.
for immense profit. So see, it wasn't even like the too much of a screwing. It was just like he's too rich and had to die. I'm the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Well, so the thing is, it is a commentary on the healthcare system, but it's not like him getting personally screwed over. He didn't do this because his back hurts. He did this for the people.
And I don't think that that's actually the answer. I think that was the acceptable answer socially.
But why do all this crazy shit and then lie? Why be so meticulous and then lie?
You want to know why to be so meticulous and then lie? Look at all of the fucking generations younger than us. Look at how autistic they are and how perfect they need to have everything.
He's
And
our
every
age.
single time they fuck everything up. Just like his back. He sat there and walked and perfected his body, and then he fucked it up and his dick stopped working. It's crazy. Oh, that's the other part. Uh, the number code that uses for Breloom and the distance to the PA and the Bible verse also is the number code to deny somebody healthcare within the healthcare system as well. That was the other part.
Yeah, again, like one of those is the truth and he didn't tell us which one. Cool.
It's fucking insane. No, all of those are true. All of them.
He's not going to pick a triple meaning number.
A
He
quad
he
meaning.
no, he had one reason to pick that number. He related to a Pokemon because he's our age. And that's all there is to it. It's not that he went for like the craziest numbers. Maybe it's just the health code. And then of course someone's going to pull a Bible verse and the Bible like what let's make up a number right now. 412. What is a Bible verse of 412? Bible verse 412. Uh I know how to be brought low. I know how to be abound. Think about it. For the word of God is alive and active. Hebrews 4:12. See, you could just tie anything to a Bible verse and it works.
No, and that's obviously where
I
there's a
don't
whole
think he
bunch of
drove
different ones.
exactly. Maybe the mileage if he's like that associated with the health code, but not a scripture.
No, and I can understand exactly what your point is. I can completely agree that there's a disconnect there, and all of a sudden this and this line up, and that is just forced.
That
I
is not
completely agree.
cool. Cowboy. He said, "What about Leviticus 4:12? If an anointed priest sins, they must carry the rest of the bollocks outside the camp to a clean place and burn it on a wood fire on the ash heap." We were talking about priest sinning early on. I threw out a random number and it lines up.
So Burles has become a prophet. That's fucked up. Um, I said that this was going to happen, and I kind of guessed that it was going to happen. So Joe Biden came out last week and said, guys, don't worry about it. Not going to pardon my son. Friday hits. He's like, guys, I'm going to pardon my son. He's completely taken care of from
Biden didn't come
2011.
out and say it though. His administration said it.
Yes.
That it was like the press lady that's always lying, where she was just like, never ever in a million bajillion years is Biden going to pardon his son. Drop it, you crazy people. And then like 3 days later, it's like, and I'm pardoning my son.
So this clears him from everything with Burisma. This clears him everything with
That's
China.
another crazy thing. It's like, where's this war happening? Russia and who? Ukraine? Where's Burisma? Ukraine, huh? Wow. Think about
This
it.
clears him of all the biolab conspiracy shit within Ukraine.
And whatever else is going to come out in the laptop.
But you want to know the crazy thing? Is that, so before we go into the next part that's connected to this shit, this is where it gets interesting to me. Does this allow him to speak not only against his father, which will probably happen, but other Democrat leaders within the leadership that Biden knows are going to go down now? Because now Hunter cannot be implicated in any crimes.
Yeah, like
He
the
is clean.
pre-pardoning is like, does that mean the truth comes out because no one's at fault, or like at least
No.
he's like, well,
He's
what
not at
means like,
fault.
what means he's just like, I can say everything, I'm not going to jail ever. So like, is that what happens here?
And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Is he's going to come out. He's going to start speaking, and the fact that he does is going to be huge.
I don't think
There-
that's it. I think this is just going to bury it forever. I think it's like, well, now nothing in laptop matters because Hunter is off scot-free, and we already know he shares a bank account with Joe and cashes checks, and Joe hasn't gone down, so no one's going down. Hand wave. Enjoy the Trump presidency.
I think it buries Obama.
There's enough to bury him already. We never buried Clinton! Hillary! She washed her email servers and nothing happened. Trump said the only reason she isn't in jail right now is because I didn't want to start anything. And then people are bringing up the bombing. The big one.
Whatchamacallit? Benghazi.
No. On the U.S. terror attack.
Oh, gotcha.
Like the Oakland City
understand.
one or something.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like that was her documents that just poofed. Apparently, allegedly. I've seen it on Twitter. Maybe it's fake.
Like the hard shit to me is like, as a dad, if my kid did fucked up shit, I would be really fucking tempted to pardon them. I'd be tempted to cover their fucking ass. That is my job, is to protect them and make sure that they're okay and do everything I possibly can. But he didn't just pardon him from the tax shit. If he pardoned him from just the tax shit, there would be no fucking story. None. It wouldn't be a fucking story. He said, I pardon him from everything for a decade.
The problem is the corruption of Democrats is like, how much do you allow to pardon? Because a lot of the girls in the laptop looking young. You just gonna pardon on that? Like, is that an allowable pardon? I think not.
The crazy flip to me. Did you see what Fetterman said the day after that the Joe Biden pardon came through? He said, Joe, you said, it was a witch hunt for your son, that they needed to bury him just that way everything came out, that nothing was actually there. So you want to know who's been buried with a political witch hunt for the past 8 years? Donald Trump. The Democrat fucking senator from Pennsylvania comes out in support for Trump, saying it's been a witch hunt against him.
Isn't that what happened with Nixon, where just like Nixon got pardoned by the next administration?
Yep.
So yeah, like if pre-pardons are now on the table, just be like, look, Trump did none of the convictions stuck on Trump, just like fucking drop it, and here's like the presidential stamp to say shut up everyone. I don't even care. Like the big thing I'm more upset about than like Hunter being pardoned by his father, unless there is heinous stuff he did, is the lying. The lying of I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You're all conspiracy people. You're all crazy. I'm not doing it. No one is above the law, except for us Democrats and our own. And then like
I completely
everyone
agree.
going deranged, like the TDS people. just like pretending like, oh yeah, no crimes ever. Like now, not like the crimes have dissolved from their memory. They actually think Hunter never did any of those things, and laptop didn't exist anymore. And lying is just fair game. I hate it.
When Trump pardoned Lil Wayne, did Lil Wayne just not do anything, or did he just absolve him of a crime? Guys,
Mhm.
if something was convicted, something was accused, there is different levels of, availability. Hunter was accused and convicted of different things. There's complete different disingenuous problems in all of this. All of it could be a lie, all of it could be truth. There is different levels to everything. Just because there's a disconnect in some of this doesn't mean there's a super fucking official problem here. There's superficial problems in all of this, and it's completely being covered up.
Mhm.
It just is. Like 30 fucking charges for Trump. That makes no sense.
It's the same misdemeanor over and over that they just artificially inflated because campaign.
And the shit with going to prison, being convicted, all of this shit has been really weird. We watched a meme turn into a millionaire overnight. Did you see the shit that happened with the I spit on dicks girl?
The weird thing is, I don't remember if it was on this show or if I was arguing with friends elsewhere where I was just like, Hawk Tuah girl just needs to make an OnlyFans. I don't care about her morals or what she thinks. Take her 5 mil and then just disappear, fade into obscurity. You're set for life no matter how you play this Hawk Tuah girl. Did I say that on the show, or maybe that might have just been with
That
friends?
wasn't here.
Okay, so that was my thought. My thought is like, she can sell out, and then my friends give me pushback, but like, isn't she Christian? Didn't she say she wasn't going to do that? And then she lands in a crypto scandal. So like, she was just better off whoring out for the money, and then
I completely agree with you. Honestly, she's an 8.5. The fact that she was a meme and a sex meme at that.
yeah, it's like,
Do you know how
cash
big of a
out.
thing that would
I will have nothing against you if you cash out.
5 mil? I think 5 mil is an understatement. Right now, there's girls making 40 mil a year.
I mean, she could just open it up for a month and be like, "That's all you get, boys. I'm going to retire."
She could have did the extremely fucking sketchy thing where she doesn't show any nipples, doesn't show any pussy, and just covers everything, but just barely. And
Mm.
probably cash out for 5 mil. You're probably
And
right.
then respond to a few DMs that are $100 each.
Instead, she decides to go down the crypto
Well,
scheme.
podcast first. Someone bought her out for a podcast because she just appeared overnight
You know
with like,
who? Jake Paul.
really? See, I
Yeah.
just saw like questions where it's like, where did she just get a fully set up studio overnight? So Jake Paul did that.
Jake paid for everything and bought her a huge fucking contract.
Well, exactly.
and
You buy a
everything.
chunk of that, and then the social media machine wants to do everything to unseat Joe Rogan, so they're just going to artificially push as well. And then you got that. I don't know. It's not that makes sense, and I'm the one that shadow banned and dislike botted and can't get anyone at YouTube to help me.
Yeah, and there's a huge fucking disconnect
I
there.
haven't scammed
What the
anyone. I've
fuck
never
genuinely is
lied.
going on?
I've never scammed anyone. I've never lied. I don't do any bad actor shit. It's always the bad people that get propped up or something scandalous happening. I haven't laughed at a dead body hanging from a tree, but fuck me, I guess.
So she decides to launch a cryptocurrency
That's
where
5 years old too. Like we're way past that boat.
and she held 95%
Is that
of
the
the
alleged though?
entire. Yes,
Because I thought her team made a statement that they were
I
like,
heard
"Oh, it all got
Buffyzilla
botted."
showcase that she held 90% of it, and I've heard up to 95% if you account for the early sells and everything else.
Well,
To
they said everything
insiders.
about botting. So like, yes, if you launch a coin, you own all of it, and that's how you start the coin. So she sold it all at like bottom to put the supply out there. Well, I'm talking from her team because this is a
Oh yeah,
very we need to be correctly uh
articulate.
alleged about this
Yes.
and not misrepresent the story from other people who are trying to bury her. The truth is somewhere in between. But here's what happens. If you launch a coin, you have all the supply. You start that supply. So what her team is saying is that, oh, it's all bots and all the artificial pump and dump mechanisms. She didn't drop 95% of her position at the top and cause it to sink. That was the people pumping and dumping. She did not make out entirety out of this.
So the interesting thing that CoffeeZilla said was on the chain. I didn't go through and sit here and meticulously look. I read the stories and looked at the back end kind of shit of this is what's going on. Could absolutely be wrong. I don't know. Not my forte. I don't know super a shit ton about the back end of crypto shit. But the fact that she sold insider shit at low, they all sold when it got to the highest point is why it dropped, which was
Allegedly. Outside of potential
allegedly.
botting and manipulation that always happens inside of these schemes. Especially if it's Hawk Tuah girl. If it's a meme coin, of course it's going to be manipulated harder by the outside forces, unless allegedly Mr. Beast is a part of it.
That change is insane.
That's not. That's your average shitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying the fact that it changed that drastically is insane because they had the fee percentage at 15% per trade, which they said they used to push away bots and everything else and snipers. If I'm going to increase my value and worth by 75%, do you really think 15% of this sell to you really matters to me very much?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to make $1 million today, does 15% of that going to you really matter to me? That's
Yeah, I don't think the
$150,000.
movements of the shitcoining and all this crypto stuff is what matters. It's just like Hawk Tuah girl ended up in this because everyone. But is that even surprising? Because this is where everyone ends up. Everyone ends up in an alleged crypto scam, and that's it. It happened again. And did we learn anything? No.
Yet again, we're talking about rug pulls. Yet again, we're talking about this shit that is people making money off of the backs of people who don't absolutely know. And they were targeted. Oh, these retards who have absolutely no idea what the fuck
That's a
crypto is,
lie.
who like spitting on dicks and saying "Hawk too" and saying, "Oh yeah, dude, we're cool," is now trying to trade in crypto
I
because
would
they think they're
say
going to make hundreds of
1% of the
thousands.
people that bought that coin did it innocently, thinking like, "Oh, I trust Talk to a girl because she's been so like such a good person this entire time about her 15 minutes of fame that I actually have some trust in her to not scam a crypto, and this is going to be my first intro into it." That's 1%. The rest are trying to cash out on a meme coin. And then it failed, and they're trying to look for an excuse.
Oh, I completely agree. I think that there was a huge amount of people trying to rug pull it, trying to absolutely take as much money as they possibly can. And then there was a handful of people that actually figured it out on how to buy a meme coin and made money via shit coins and everything else. There's a huge disconnect there. And it's just like, okay, I can understand where there's a disconnect. There is a problem, but I don't know exactly where that disconnect and problem is. It's just crazy. It's crazy that somebody who sat here and looked at somebody on the street and they said that they spit on that thing uh turned into a millionaire multiple times now
Well, I mean,
over just
we
doing weird
saw it
shit.
with Nico Lowell just going, "Okay, boomer," while wearing a Bernie shirt, and then she's just fucking to the moon.
It's
All you need is a
fucking stupid, man.
girl. All you need is a girl just giving incels attention, and if it hits that right sauce on virality, done.
So do you think Talk to a Girl can be redeemed and fixed, or is she just gone now?
Well, like I
Is
said,
her entire career
I
dead?
said I said it was just a 15 minutes of fame, and she should have cashed out day one on an OnlyFans. So I'm surprised she lasted this long.
Oh, I am too. But I'm thoroughly surprised that, that didn't happen.
Like, unless there's a major legal thing against it, like somehow CoffeeZilla loses a suit over this, and like whoever else was jumping on this, like if her lawyer army with Jake Paul behind it is that powerful, I I think it'd be really interesting to like that's her redemption arc. If it's actually she's 100% innocent in this, she did everything by the book on a meme coin, and all the people that failed the pump and dump are just mad about it. If that's the situation, she's back and she might be stronger than ever. Other than that, like I said, she's already overstayed her welcome to what I thought was going to happen initially.
So you're on fucking X dating right now, okay? and you have two choices because there's only two females on X dating. There's one chick who cashed in on OnlyFans, made her 5 mil, and is never working a day in her life. Or there's Tuah girl who made a rug pull, and you're not really sure about how much money she has and whatever she has left. Which girl are you swiping on?
That's a tough call because I might have a controversial take here, but I'm just like, yo, if my girl wants to do OnlyFans and make more money than me, I'm down with that. I know it's a red flag. I know it usually ends in infidelity, but if I can get the dream world where if she only cares about me, she's not giving too much puss to other dudes, like picture wise and all that other stuff, and I am still just the man who she will always be with, I'd prefer that over a crypto scam.
I agree. And to me, I don't see OnlyFans as a red flag unless they parade it around as it's the
Well, see,
only
that's what I
part
mean.
of
Like,
their being.
there's only like very few cases where the OnlyFans couple situation doesn't go astray. We're just like, up, they meet at TwitchCon, one of their fans, it's like a giga 10,000 donor, and then the relationship's over.
Exactly. So it's like there's got to be a level to
Like, if you can
discretion.
find the faithful OnlyFans unicorn making 20 grand a month, I have no problems with you doing that.
Exactly. That's the part of the red pill universe that I genuinely don't understand. Oh, let's shit on all these people. Okay. I
Well, per
understand the morality
capita,
problem.
selling your body usually doesn't lead to wholesomeness.
Like, I can completely understand. Cowboy just said this, and I actually like this. Unfortunately, I think while the OnlyFans experience could lead to infidelity, I found it really messes with a chick's self esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be positively or negatively.
Well, that's what
It
ends
could
up leading
super
to.
inflate it, and then they crash after no longer getting the
Yeah,
positive
that's.
reinforcement.
I think you're about to debunk yourself on the whole. Like, I don't understand conservatives being so against this kind of thing. Where it's like, once a chick starts selling her body, it's over for their mental, no matter how supportive the man is. 90% of the time.
Oh, I don't disagree. I really don't. The only part that I
So that's why
don't,
people are so against it.
yeah, I just, I guess I'm more understanding that they want to do it, so they're going to do it anyway. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
like OnlyFans versus body count. Body count's worse.
yeah, and that's something I completely agree with. So the last thing that happened this fucking week, and I don't even know about this fully. You might know a little bit more than I do because I know you watch Rogan every now and then. Is this New Jersey drone shit? I guess there's drones that are flying above New
I heard
Jersey.
about it, but I didn't care. I'm so cooked off of all the other stories that have going on that
There's so much
I'm
shit going
more.
on right now. It's just like
Yeah,
holy shit.
I don't care about drone. Like, is Iran drones
Supposedly not at all.
never
So,
happened?
supposedly it's not Iran.
Hmm.
Supposedly it's just drones that we're using and things are happening, but we're not saying any time about what it actually is.
Well, the thing that fucks me up is like the Chinese balloon. That was happening all throughout Trump's presidency, and our agencies didn't tell him because they didn't want him freaking out.
It's just
It's
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 so
all a joke. That's what I mean. Where it's just like, I would not be surprised. I'm kind of at the point where I don't care if I look out the window and Seattle is getting like Russian nuked. It's like, huh? That's how it ends, huh? No surprises, nothing. It's just, yeah, it was happening. Or if something catastrophic happens, I cannot care. China flew a balloon over us. We can't care. We're being poisoned every day, and we can't care. They've done it.
well,
They have completely demoralized us. We pretend that we have power, but the system has already stacked against us, no matter how based we are.
the shit that I heard about this was connected to there being aliens in the ocean. So the fact that they're already connecting those two things and saying that this is just, bullshit or this proves that absolutely confuses the fuck out of me almost. It's like, why the fuck are we connecting these things? Why the fuck is there drones flying over our country? Like, why can we not be honest or truthful at all? And it's fucking weird.
Well,
Like,
then
if
the
it is
truth
Iran, why
happens,
the fuck
and
is it not saying? Why are
then
we
when the
not
truth
saying it?
happens, like we don't accept it because it's not the cool fairy tale story ending assassination of a CEO.
He is Luigi. He is Luigi. I don't know about you. Luigi was helping me set up my Christmas tree. He definitely wasn't there in December.
Bing bing woohoo.
Guys, we'll see you fucking next time. Use code RMTS or Verlisify at checkout at G Fuel. We'll see you fucking next time. Goodbye.